verse 347. Insight is always removed from assertions as well as from negations. Let not the Yogin discriminate the triple world, which appears as body, property, and abode. Enlightenment practice, as it's been presented in recent verses, is very much about our relationship with the world. This relationship depends on our beliefs, our cultural or subcultural beliefs, and our moods. This is what is sometimes referred to as the triple world. There's the apparent world out there, which we have a certain understanding of. It could be depending on whether we're religious or scientific and how we view other people. And there's also the world as we understand it through our moods. Sometimes we might think the world's a terrible place. Sometimes we think it's wonderful. And various shades, alternating shades in between. And then there's a dynamic between these two. So this is the triple world. When we're practicing though, we are not the least bit interested. We are stepping back from the world. We are bypassing our moods. All statements regarding the world become irrelevant. This is a tricky one to understand conceptually. It's like, for example, my position on atheism or theism. Do I believe in God or do I not? Am I a theist or an atheist? Or am I some kind of in-between agnostic, not quite sure one way or the other? Can't quite make up my mind. And some people are quite concerned to know this. It's a very important question. But for me, it's completely irrelevant. I have no interest in identifying with any part of this spectrum between atheism and theism. Why should it be of any interest to me? Only because of the values imposed by others, by culture, by moods. So is it possible to appreciate that that way of looking at things is completely irrelevant? Similarly, following on from that, if you believe in God or you don't, it reflects what you think about the world. Did God bring the world into existence, or did it come into existence through automatic mechanical forces represented most significantly by the theory of evolution? Again, when practicing, this is of no consequence. It's saying something about the world. It's investing in a particular attitude about the world. So we're not interested, as Enlightenment practitioners, we're not interested in one argument or the other. It's irrelevant. As the previous verse said, let the Yogin perceive existence as always like unto Maya and a dream. What's the difference between Maya and a dream? Well, a dream is basically what's going on, and Maya is the conviction that that is real. Dream is apparently what's going on, and Maya is the conviction in the reality of it. So in enlightenment practice, it's as if we've woken up from a dream, and we're not giving the dream another thought. The dream has just melted away from memory. But there's this power to invest in it. There's this body which needs to be protected. We need to invest in its upkeep and maintenance. And this is where body, property and abode come in. And this is described again as the triple world, because it's about establishing ourselves in relationship to what is going on out there in the world. There's our body, that represents me. There's the space I inhabit, my abode, that's the world out there, my space in the world. And there's my property, that indicates my relationship with the world. By what property I have, how much I have, and so on. And this is what most of us invest most of our time in, if not most of our lives. Within that, we've got family and relationships which underpin the emotional force that's prompting us to invest in this triple world. Verse 348 tells us, not thinking how to obtain food and drink, but holding his body upright, let him pay homage over and over again to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So this is the big one. Not thinking how to obtain food and drink. How to obtain food and drink. We can center our whole day around this. And we can justify it, can't we? We've got to look after the body. And along with that, everything else. Property and abode. It's always been a major preoccupation. Some animals spend most of the day foraging. Our ancestors would have spent quite a lot of time growing or hunting, preparing the food. And you think, well, if you were affluent, if you were rich, you wouldn't have to worry too much about this. But what's quite amazing is a lot of professional people spend most of their time working in order to pay off their house, in order to subsidize a particular lifestyle, which they can't really enjoy because they're so busy working to maintain it. So it becomes a major part of our effort, of our life effort, to maintain a particular lifestyle. And what's the option here? Well, the option here is hold your body upright. In other words, don't allow yourself to be buckled by physical circumstances. And pay homage over and over again to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. I've spoken about this kind of thing before. It's about acknowledging that it can be very difficult to practice most of the time. So even if you cannot practice, you remember about practicing. And this is where the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas come in, because they represent the practice, even if you cannot practice at a particular moment because, quite frankly, you're lost. Your mood is dominating, or certain circumstances are undermining you. So by remembering the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, or Jesus, or the saints, or the prophet, or the gods, or God, whatever you like really, whatever represents higher possibility to that which the world presents, this is what we can turn our mind and hearts to. I should say though, it is only provisional. Really, ultimately what you want to turn your mind to, your mind and heart to, is awareness. Your very own awareness. And to see the beauty in that, see the higher potential in that, see that as your true abode, your true home, because this is where you really, really belong.